talk me through your day.
My day, the day of the fight.
The day of the fight, yeah.
Well, that whole weekend was stressful. I'll be honest, to an extent. I was very lucky that over the weekend, like I managed to plan things to kind of keep me relaxed. Like on the Saturday, Six Nations.
Yeah.
Got lucky, managed to get tickets because they're like gold dust, and went to watch Wales win.
The same.
We
were there.
We were like about what must have been like 10 meters apart, like even same stand. I want to say.
Did I? No, I didn't see you.
Did we not bump into each other?
I don't think so. I bumped into somebody else that I'd literally again. But it's even weirder when it's like someone you know really well, because then you kind of think, this feels even weirder that I didn't know you were coming to this.
It felt like the entirety of Qatar's were in Principality Stadium.
It was sick.
It was awesome. But that was cool because it was something to take my mind off of it. And then my housemate, she had a dance recital on the Sunday, the day before the fight, and that was like a cool experience because it was in the Great Hall where we would end up competing the next night. So I got to go in there the night before, and I'm sat there and I hear the music and everything, and I'm just sat there in my head like watching other people dance, and I'm like, I'm gonna be in this spot tomorrow competing. But no, obviously over the weekend we had all the stress of our medicals and stuff.
Yeah, we've already talked.
I can imagine.
Kieran
from
and
the
me
first,
did a good bit on that.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, but I remember waking up in the morning on the Sunday, getting a text from my opponent. Well, according to my opponent, and oh, I don't have my medical. Oh, this isn't sorted. That isn't sorted. I'm like, oh Lord above, we're here. But then it all got sorted. We're all good. We're all good to go. So I woke up Monday morning. I was feeling good, feeling ready. Obviously, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember whether in Kieran's podcast you discussed it, but did you get a call from Aiden the night before, obviously, about all the admin stuff?
So let me think.
Yeah.
So Friday was where it was proper, like...
You can imagine.
Shit could hit the fan.
Yeah, it was real D-Day.
I get a call from the event, the supervisors, the two guys that we had. And they're like, what's the state with your medicals? And I'm like, most of them are done.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's been done. I've got guys who have been done since October, and it's not uploaded. And then they're kind of chill, and then an hour goes by, they're less chill. Then another hour goes by, and they're less chill. And we're kind of thinking, well, there's no way that this guy's going to let the show go bad.
No,
like, surely he's going to do it.
Surely.
And then word gets through, no, another show on Tuesday.
Rough.
It either had to be stopped or a fight was cancelled. I don't want to spread hearsay, but I know it wasn't good. I know.
Don't want any misinformation on this podcast. No.
But it was
dodgy. It was on the ropes.
It was on the ropes,
yeah.
And then luckily there was another doctor who we had.
Shout out.
Brilliant.
He was excellent. Yeah.
He was fantastic.
I have a funny little story about him when we get to when we get later in that day. But to get back to my day.
Yeah.
To
answer your question, stressful.
Stressful, I can imagine, yeah.
Sunday night, still wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And I had that call from Aiden, who, to be honest, he was like, admin good, yeah. Then he gave me a quick sort of 30 seconds on like, how you feeling for the fight? I was like, I feel fine. He's like, I'm not worried. You won't hear from me till tomorrow.
See, the funny thing is mine was kind of different. And obviously the context for me and Ben is we need to remember about that fight is me and Ben had sparred like 4 weeks before the fight, and when I say I got schooled a little bit, I got put down. It was a little bit embarrassing. So, Aiden, I feel like at some points maybe didn't have much faith in me.
He was very, very much like.
He was very much like this is a risk. He said that to me. He was like, I'm being a bad coach by letting you compete. I don't think And to link this back to the call the night before, I'm chilling now. I'm about to go to my housemate's dance show, and he calls me like, how you feeling? I'm going, yeah, I feel good. We put in the work, put in the 10-11 week camp that we ended up doing, 9 week camp, and I'm on the call to him, and he's like, yeah, well, we stuck to the plan, we've worked on it, you're looking good, looking sharp, feeling sharp. He's like, I want you to get in there first 10 seconds, and I want you to feel the power, get hit. I want you to get hit with something, because if you get knocked down,
that is really not the
which you're about to go in a ring in front of 300 plus people in the end. Something like that. We sold 250 tickets online, and it's got to be around 300, maybe even more than that. And the first thing that your coach wants you to do is run in there and get hit with something.
And get hit on purpose.
Well, just try it. And I was like, he's like, you get knocked down, well, you're here. If you don't get knocked down, you'll be fine. which is good advice to an extent, because it's like, well, he's not wrong, not what you want to hear.
Yeah, because I often hear the you know, you want to get a bit of a respect out of your opponent as well. So like you want to hit them hard, which is like duh, but you know, you want to sting them with something where they get a little bit nervous when your feints mean something. I've never heard it the other way round. Of you want to. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
It does make sense.
What if you've just dropped your guard and let him just hammer you?
Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't going to walk in like that that guy that looked like an absolute caveman on Friday did. Again, that guy, Pedro's fight, I think it was. I mean, he just walked in straight. But anyway,
I mean, for context, this was two guys, both over, I want to say over 11 or 12 bouts
Must
each.
have been.
Very experienced amateur
Pedro's
boxers.
they're both
very good, like
very good quality.
And you know, coaches have to do matchups.
Yeah,
and
it's a serious business. Like matchups, it's not something to be envious of.
I think what happened. This is my theory. So, for context for the audience, guy walks into ring. He goes
from the Jurassic period. It's remarkable. I don't know where they defrosted him from.
And he comes out, and I mean, not even swinging, like head first, and he stumbles and he falls, and I get it, nerves and things, and then he gets up, and then this goes on a few times, and I mean, these are polished boxers.
Yeah.
These are not just first timers. These are guys that have had fights, and he stumbles again, he falls over again, and this is probably, what, the first minute?
Not even
maybe first 30 seconds.
It was so quick that I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. My
theory is that he fell, he then gets up immediately into his elbow. Ooh, and I think guy was like this, elbow straight to the top of his head, because he went in with his head. Ref keeps saying, stop leading with your head. He leads with his head, he falls over again. It's a stoppage. Yeah. But I think that first one, I think he had some mental adrenaline dump and got actually knocked out.
Probably.
And we just didn't, and we just, no one...
Yeah, no one knows except from him really what happened. But, but so that was the advice the night before, but, you know...
Do that, go in head first.
But it was more just like trial by fire. You know, you're going to get hit. If it hurts, it hurts. If it doesn't, you'll be fine. And I mean,
I've sparred him.
Yeah.
I've had two very good spars with him.
Yeah.
But I've never really had trouble with him.
Fair. What?
With Waldie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Waldie's a very good fighter.
Yeah,
he's very long and he's a very tall guy. And I knew the plan. Me and Aiden, especially after I got dropped, and we realized, okay, we need a plan here. If I'm going to be successful in this fight, I need a plan. I need to work on a game plan. And, you know, credits to Aiden is me and him. We worked on a game plan. Now it was stick. It was move. I was going to be on the back foot. You know, I'm naturally I'm significantly shorter than Waldie. I don't know how tall he is.
But some body types. I mean, Ben Waldie is probably he's got to be over 6 foot.
He's got to be. I don't want to give him too much of an ego boost on this podcast, but he's significant. I'm about 5'8", 5'8" and a half.
What were your weights?
Well, we were both weighing in at 76 kilos.
Both weighing in at 76, and he's about 6.
And he's got at least, I want to say, about 3 or 4 inches on me. At least 5 inches. Pause.
Because when I was watching, I watched it back again, and I mean that's what you did very, very well. Is he does look like he's holding the ring, but to be honest, you're just punching and moving. You're punching and moving,
and that was the plan. I think it was to stay on the back foot. It was to roll, and it was just to keep moving. Because I knew if I could keep moving, he can't set his feet and he can't hit me hard. And I feel like if you can't hit someone hard, you're not going to stop them. And I know that I'd worked over the 10 weeks on my cardio and everything like that to be able to get through the 2-minute rounds, the three 2-minute rounds.
Talk me through those 3 rounds then.
Oh wow! I mean, you want to talk about an experience? I mean, I was still on to go back to talking about the day. I mean, I want to kind of go through the whole day. I mean, I woke up in the morning. I had a seminar. Couldn't even tell you what that was about. I wasn't really focusing. It's kind of just more like, because I had my family come up. I had so my 2 brothers came up middle of the day. So I finished my seminar. I went and saw them. And my brother, he did a degree in sports physiology, sports science. He's going to crucify me when he watches this. I've not got it right, but he was talking to me because for me, my biggest fear was not making weight. Making weight for me, as any kind of combat sport athlete knows, you have one thing that you have to do as a professional, as an amateur, as someone who respects the sport, you gotta, if you agree to fight at a specific weight.
That is thing, there are plenty of things in the ring which you can and can't control, but the weight, that is completely you.
That's completely on you. And so, I spoke to my brother, he's like, oh, what have you eaten today? And I was like 2 bananas.
So what was your weight saying then? So you were not comfortably at that weight
I would say I was at about 77, 78 kilos.
Right. Okay.
77 kilos. The morning of the day of. But we managed my weight well during the day. I got quite a funny story actually. Like, I sat there in my room trying to meditate, trying to get visualize. Like, we worked with a sports psychologist beforehand, and he was very much big onto the just visualize, sit there with music, get yourself into the zone, build yourself up to it, so that when you actually do get in there, you're used to it. You've done it 1,000 times. And so I was laying there on my bed trying to have a nap, visualize, and I can hear my brother's chatting. So I open my eyes and I look over and I can just see my brother next to me. And I'm like, I take my AirPod. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, roulette. And I'm like, we're either gonna be lucky tonight or we're not gonna be lucky tonight. So he hands me his phone, spin. I go, oh, we're putting it on red. Boom. I'm thinking, oh, nice, I've won, I've landed. I'm going, oh, how much have I won? He's like, oh, mate, nice, 50 quid. I'm like, what? So he goes, oh, spin again. I was like, oh, black. So turns out, in about 20 minutes, we made about, I want to say, 200 quid.
I couldn't think of a more polar opposite from, mindfulness meditation to what's that noise? What's that noise?
Yeah,
Who's gambling?
It was who's gambling. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that has to be a that's got to be a sign.
Oh, it was a sign.
I mean, it was a sign.
It was a sign, and it was a great. It was good fun. It was keeping it light, which is what I think what works for me. Some people, I think for most of the day, what I knew I needed to do was to stay in a very positive mindset. Yeah. Stay happy, enjoy the moment, enjoy the fact that we've done the hard work. I think it was.
It's a very good point. You can't cram anything.
I also think it was Ilya Taporia. I was watching an interview that he did, and he said he was being questioned why he has a glass of red wine the night before his fights, and he's like, I've worked hard for 10, 12 weeks. I've put in hard work. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because I know I'm going to be successful. And he's an undefeated, and I'm not saying I'm Ilya Taporia, but I can understand that, for me, I've never boxed before. I've never competed before in front of that many people before. So for me, it was all about, we put in, the losing the weight, the getting into shape, and it was about enjoying the experience. And I remember, and I think one of the best things for me was being both, and I say this to people, being both an organizer of the event and being a competitor. For me, it was lovely to see, for my housemates, they made a whole week of it. I want to say it was like Christmas come early for them. It was a great excuse for them to, go out shopping, get their nails done, celebrate, prees, everything. And, I'm in that environment beforehand, and it's it's awesome being able to give them the experience to have a great night and enjoy a great event, which I think we managed to put on.
Well, that was I said this to you a year ago when both of us were running for committee, so secretary, president, and I thought, because we both worked so hard last year to not get a fight. Exactly. We both were basically there and ready.
I would say, and I would disagree with you on that. Compared to yourself, I think one of the things is you were so ready. You really set the benchmark, I think. And when I look back at kind of people I modeled my own training after, you were one of them, because the way you committed last year to getting a fight, getting into shape, and doing the things you need to do to get ready, that was one of the things that I was like, you can do that while also, being successful academically wise and still having somewhat of a social life. And I think when it came to, I didn't really take it seriously properly last year because I was a beginner, right? For context, I never boxed before I came to uni. When I say I look like Bambi on ice, trying to move around, trying to box, that is exactly it. This is something that, I've learned a skill since coming to uni. I come back in second year. I've dedicated myself over first time. Obviously, we had the disappointment of not having a November show. But we then, we came back and we were like, right, we are doing March. It's happening. And that's when and then you tell people about it and it gets real. And then you're like, I got to hit I'm currently 86 kilos. I've got to weigh in at 76 kilos, and everyone I know's bought tickets, and they're coming to watch. They're coming to watch us. You know, that's a serious commitment, and like it was a really cool thing. You know,
it was awesome. It feels like a fever dream to me.
Oh yeah.
But what you were going to say there about when we both decided to run for this, I was thinking.
Yeah.
My exact point was, I want a successful show for the kids like us that are in their first year, that are sacrificing, you know, that January to March period of university where you're not going out, but it's your first year. That's pretty, how do I say, that could really inform your next 2 years of uni after that. Because that might be friend groups you don't develop. You know, when I had my first lecture at university, it was the vice-chancellor, or whoever it was, or the dean of the subject, and he genuinely just said, actually go out and have fun for your first year. Yeah. This is kind of what it's for. There's a reason we don't assess you on your first year.
Completely.
And with that, I thought, so if I'm going to do this and become president, then I want to make sure that there is a show that means that those kids that try and box for their first time, they're guaranteed to get that. And then also the housemates and the friend group, they get an experience out of this.
Because that's the thing that maybe kind of some people maybe as competitors that we kind of don't see because we're so focused on it from a boxing angle. We managed to, and I'd like to think that even, you know, as of the recording of this podcast, the AU Ball hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But we are very grateful, very appreciative that we've been nominated for Club Event
I
of the
will
Year.
be happier if we win that.
And
I will be happier than doing the fight.
But that's what. But the thing is that in and of itself, being actively recognised for the event that we managed to put on, because, like you said, like when we were running for committee, you know, you got into arguably one of the best shape of your life. Effectively, and you didn't have anything to show for it. And the entire mood, I feel, around the club and around boxing at Cardiff was very, I wouldn't say depressive, but so lacking optimism. You know what I mean? There was
completely agree.
It felt everything was a bit too impossible. You know, that there's not the money for it, there's no effort for it, there's no one's willing to put the time in for it. And I'd like to think one of the things that we've done so well as a committee this year is being able to kind of give that hope back. And I think the home show is a shining light to people, because that's one of the main things I heard when I came out the ring. You know, I had many people who have come to training that, you know, they're not actively seeking to compete, or they come just because they like a bit of fitness, they find it fun, you know, all that. But they'll come up to you and go, you looked awesome, you know, that was really cool. Like, I want to be able to do that. And it's to be able to give back and go, you know, you don't need any experience before you come to uni. You don't need 10 years, decades of boxing experience. You can show up and you can be consistent, and you can come to sessions, and you can get in a position where I think you can have, definitely, I don't know about yourself, but for me, what was arguably one of my favourite nights I've had at university.
I think I'd agree. I think, well, I don't know if it was my favourite. I think if I won, it would have been my favourite.
Of course.
To be honest, I went non-verbal by the time I reached the club.
I do slightly feel you on that, because while I was able to kind of walk out, and I like to half jokingly say this, the people's champ. Because when you rewatch the recording and you hear the announcer,
you put your hands up.
Oh,
you celebrate like you won.
That was
again. It was an exhibition, so there is no winner.
And this is the very awkward thing when I tell people, because they ask me, "Oh, how did the boxing go?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of won, but I didn't actually win because it was technically a draw."
I hate to say this, and I'm very sorry, Waldy, because you may be watching
love you, Waldy.
this. Would love you a lot. But when I had the spar with him last year, and then people again, because it was an interclub, they were asking how did it go, and I was like, it was a draw.
It was a draw. Yeah, and so I like to say, like, I'm the people's champion, because when you watch the recording back and you hear the referee announcer go, because this is an exhibition, there is no winner, and you just hear all the groans from the audience, because I think everyone likes to see a definitive winner. But the one thing I will say, and credit to Waldy, is that he didn't, if it wasn't for him stepping in very last minute, so when we sparred, very last minute, and accepting an exhibition with me, I wouldn't have been able to have that moment. You know, and for me, there is no one else I feel like I would have rather, for me as a litmus test, I know how good of a boxer Wally is. He's not an easy fight whatsoever.
No,
he's a incredibly good, I say, like, litmus test to put yourself up against. I think for someone in my weight category, and for him to be willing and ready to step in on very little training, because he could have easily gone, I've not had the 7-8 weeks of camp, I've been taking it quite lightly, you know, I love the idea, I like the sound of it, but I can't do it. I wouldn't have competed that night.
And also, you know, giving him credit as well, you're right, he probably didn't, I mean, he was missing training sessions and things.
Yeah.
Because, he wasn't, from what I understand, he wasn't expecting to be
exactly.
boxing. And he fucking showed up.
He showed up.
He showed up.
He showed up. He showed an absolute... I hit him with some clean shots.
Yeah.
I may not hit him with the most powerful shots because, again, it's an exhibition. We're not trying to rip each other's heads off. And this is one thing I said to him. I was like, I think that I was very disappointed. I'm annoyed that it's an exhibition because I feel like if it was a real bout, I would have got the decision my way. But I think because it was an exhibition, we were able, as a duo, to be able to show off the real excellent technical aspects of boxing that you don't get, especially within people's first amateur bouts. You know, to look at kind of yours and Kieran's fight, for example, there were times where you kind of just looked like two bumblebees in a hive. You know, you're going like, at each other, and it's what people want to see.
It was a bit like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, of just like a cloud of smoke with like limbs kind of flying out of it.
Yeah, just complete anarchy. And I know as a spectator those are the best, but I remember getting out the ring and a lot of the guys who are senior to us at boxing would come out like best technical fighter.
Yours was incredibly technical.
It was incredibly
technical. It
technical.
looked really good.
And I think that does a lot for a sport as a sport.
Yes.
I think it was good to be able to give a different dynamic that night to just pure two people just slapping the other.
Because you want to be able to put it on like it's like when you're sat there watching a heavyweight fight with your mates that don't know boxing, and they're like, "This is fucking boring." But then you and the guys that do box are like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Because you know what's going on, and you want. I think on a show. You want to have both. You want to have the people on the edge of their seats while two people just beat the shit out of each other, which is what Kieran and me did. Yeah. Then you also want to fight for the actual fight fans.
And you do need a breather. And you also do need a breather because if you get too much, you got to let the crowd like soak it in a little bit. You need the more technical fights and the ones where it maybe isn't just pure violence, because then you appreciate the ones that are someone owes each other their lunch money, you know.
Yeah, and it's good when you see, when you see it less being thrown, but you see a clean uppercut, you see clean combos, you know, because those kind of things, actually, I think they show harder work. When you actually box, you realise that throwing clean combos like that in a fight setting, when your heart is fucking racing, people are screaming at you, for you to remember your training, because it's not just being. They say that fitness wins an amateur fight.
Yes.
The only reason the fitness wins it is because you're fit enough that you remember to do the things you've learned in training, like the combos. Yeah.
See, and the thing is, so many little things went wrong for me on that fight night. So many little things. Like,
go on.
I mean, to begin with, we're going down to get weighed in and get everything checked. I look like a kid in a candy shop. I can't believe it. I'm like watching a real life like Creed or Rocky movie. Like I'm like, oh my god, like I can't believe I'm here.
It felt like it.
It felt like
we're all lined up. The doctor's going. You've got a guy on the door, like I guess like a kind of security
like a bouncer,
guy, like a bouncer, and then they're screaming next. You're going in, kit off, scales. Light in your eyes, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and so I get in, weigh in. I weigh in lighter than I thought I was because obviously I've got digital scales at home.
Because you came out quite excited.
I was like, damn, I've lost a kilo on I need these scales at home. I need this is nice, 76 kilos. I can work with that. And but no, so I get to the doctor and he checks. You got to check that your gum shield obviously stays in your mouth. So I put my gum shield in and it just keeps slipping. It keeps slipping, and he looks at me and he goes, "You don't get that remolded, the fight's probably gonna get stopped." I'm like, really? Right now, like I'm trying to get in some form of a zone now. I just want my Powerade. I want to rehydrate. I want my Rice Krispies. I need to eat. I haven't eaten anything much all day.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you need that remolded. So I'm looking at what might be the grumpiest referee I've ever met in my life. That man woke up. Someone,
they were
pissed in his coffee in the morning. Like, genuinely, I don't know what his problem was, but I was like, right, we're gonna find a kettle, we're gonna do this, and it's going to be burning my gums. I had damage on my gums for like a week after that. Sucked.
It's always the way, isn't it? Though there's something just I'm trying to think what went wrong for. Oh, okay, so then we had Aiden running around. So the bout list was incorrect.
Yeah,
that was fun. And trying to get into the zone, and then you've just got yap in your ear while you're sat there like meditating. You're like,
and then
just doesn't work.
And then got back upstairs. Obviously, everyone's now. You can tell, you can feel it. There's a little serious vibe now. Everyone's like, oh, it's actually real. You know, everyone's gone a bit quiet. Everyone's listening to their music, getting in the zone. And then, you know, you watch people, and this is the horrible thing. Like, I feel bad for like Ned and Freddie and that, because they watch everyone go before them, and the room gets quiet. It starts off loud, like bustling, because there are people coming in, people coming upstairs, this, that, and then the fights start, and then it goes quiet. Everyone's warming up, and then people are going off to their bouts. And I think I was about 5, you lot were about 7, I want to say. So we were in like roughly about the middle. So, I mean, I was walking in. Our coach Aiden, he's done many of these boxing shows. He had one rule. He said, no family or friends upstairs. I have a little funny story. My brother, right, proper little swindler he is, may or may not have had one or too many Guinnesses. And he thinks, right, I'm going to go upstairs and say good luck to my little brother. So he goes up, he speaks to this woman, he goes, I need to get Ollie his lip balm. Just chatting completely out of his arse. And he comes up to me, and I look and go, what are you doing here? Like, I'm trying to like lock in. He grabs me, he goes, you're going to do so well. You've been training really hard. I'm like, fuck, you can smell it. You can smell it on his breath. I'm like, someone's going to have a good night tonight. And it's not even going to be me. It's going to be him, because he's already having it.
But he was the one waiting with the crisp pint when you finished.
Oh, what do you want? That was the order. But no, then...
okay, so
yeah,
we're doing... we've done the night.
Yeah.
Talk me through your training, because years... I think on top of being good at boxing, I don't want to be disparaging in saying this, but you also lost a lot of weight that you were very, very proud of.
Oh, and when I say that, I've gone on what, for me, is genuinely a life-changing sort of weight loss journey, I think. And it's not something you realise until you're at the end of the road, how much of a life-changing thing it is. But, yeah, it's been insane, man, for sure. Like, for context... This time last year, so I don't know when you're going to upload this, but in March...
It will come out tonight.
So in March of 2025, I weighed myself in, and, you know, I was about 96 kilograms. And obviously I'm 5'8.5". That's like quite big. And when you are that size, you don't really realize how big you kind of are. You know, you kind of just see it as a normal. And I've always been a bit of a bigger guy anyway. But then,
what's another kilo?
I was like, oh, you know, I'd get down to 90, and I'd be like, oh, I'm light now, like I'm skinny, like, and then went back home for summer. I was working full time, so I was like, right, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 times a week, and I was doing a lot of weightlifting. I managed to get down from about 95 to about 88. Over first semester, I then go down from about 88 to about 85. So which is huge, right? That's 10 kilos right there in like 6 months, 7 months.
That's incredible.
And, you know, that's insane in of itself. But then, you know, I remember my dad came up, and it's, you know, me and him had a very drunk but very emotional conversation when he came up. Because I was telling him how I wanted to compete, and he said to me, I don't care how you do when you compete. I don't care if you compete, just whatever you do, you commit to it and you give everything you can to it. You know, that was the promise.
Don't half-ass.
Don't half-ass it. You know, make yourself proud as much as you'll. That's how you'll make me proud. Is by making yourself proud and committing yourself to it. And so I had that conversation with him in like November, and I was like, right, well, if I come back January, you know, we're doing Bucks, and I'm not making to that, but we're doing January. We're gonna come back. So I'm like, come back January. I go on I'm like, right, we're doing pub golf when I come back, and that's gonna be the last hurrah. And I remember if I had a pound down, if every time I said, you know, this is gonna be the last hurrah of me drinking, I'd be a millionaire by now. But no, we get there. I do the pub golf, have my last kebab. And I weigh in the next
sweaty hangover.
Sweaty hangover. I wake up the next morning, I weigh in, and I'm 86 kilos. And I'm like, right, cool. Chat to Aiden the next Wednesday at sparring. And I'm like, oh. He's like, do you want to compete? I was like, yeah. He was like, what weight do you think you can get to? I'm like, 79, 78. Yeah. He's like, that's perfect. I don't want you to kill yourself. I don't want you to do anything silly. I want you to stay healthy. And I want you to just get the weight. And I'm like, I'm getting the weight off as much for me and for myself to improve as a boxer as it is to
just to do the weight
just
as
to
you
do
would
the weight,
for a
yeah.
fight, yeah.
And and the first thing kind of, it was like, right, we're going, you know, we're gonna do this, you know. Got the macro calories tracking app, like all this, like as my housemates like say it, macros gym bro sort of lifestyle, you know. And
that's a good phrase.
And I remember I was sat there, so the hardest day out of that was the first Wednesday, because it's the first, for those who don't know in the audience who may be watching this, Wednesdays are social nights, and I like to drink excessively, especially when I'm, you know, we're all having a good time, it's a social and everything, but someone, don't know who, but thank them, over Christmas left the Modelo, which is a very nice brand of beer, and they left that bottle of that in my fridge. And I was sat there on my sofa before going to my social, and I was going to go to the social sober. And I'm sat there and I'm looking at this beer going, I could drink this right now. No one would know. No one could judge me. But, you know, I can drink it now, or I can open it when I fight. And I put it back in the fridge, and I was like, that's going to get open when I fight.
Yeah. Or
March 16th, that night.
Excuse me.
But that's going to get open March 16th. And then I went to the social, sober, didn't drink. And then, other than one blip, but that... Blips happen. And I repented afterward with a very extended sauna session. I did 10 weeks sober. I went from 86 kilos to 76. And
Jesus.
It was a combination of, you know, the physical intensity of working out. And I always say this to people, it's very much, it's not just diet and it's not just exercise. You can't out-exercise a bad diet, and you can't diet not doing exercise.
That is bang, yeah.
Which I think is, you know, as someone is just, I mean, like, I can't remember how many times I asked you, like, obviously about your fitness and your nutrition, given the shape that you got in, especially in first year, you know, that was something that I was like, well, you know, if Dan can do it, I can do it. Mm-hmm. And so I think I want to say I ate the same 3 meals for about a solid 8 weeks, but... You know,
welcome to the dark side.
Welcome to the micros macros gym bro dark side. Honestly, it's it was long. I missed, like, I didn't, obviously no booze. I cut most bread out. It's kind of eating only like sourdough. Yeah. Every now and then I cut milk out. So I was having black coffee, everything, like anything that I thought, just a little bit extra, because it's also just, it's a mental thing, because it's like, well, if I can get rid of that, then I can do it. And if I can do this, it's get rid of that, and it's keeping it clean.
Absolutely right. I think it's the mental, it's the mental thing first, before it's actually the small habits.
Yes.
If that makes sense. And that up here is the hardest thing to kick first.
And I'd also say, if anyone's in a position, because when I was heavy, and this is the one thing for me, is like, it's looking back on photos now, you know, I'm sat here 77 kilos. I went from a slim fit XL in all my t-shirts to a medium. You know, I'll admit, I'm very, I'm willing and open and talking about mental health. And I think when I was 96, 97 kilo, you know, I had horrible mental health. You know, I had horrible self-esteem issues. And I think being able to go on a journey like this through boxing, but I say this to people, it doesn't have to be boxing. It can be football, it can be rugby, it can be ballroom dancing, it can be gym, it's anything that you can do routinely and you enjoy and you love. Because if you love it, you're just willing to show up every week, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the good things that we did at boxing, is we created an environment where you're showing up 4 times a week and you want to be there because everyone's there. You know, everyone's consistently there. Everyone's supporting each other. We're helping each other, and we're all locked in. It's boxing. You get in the ring alone, but you're not alone before that.
It is, and I think I found it last year. It was we did have an environment, but it was definitely this year, team wise. I think as well having changing up the coaching on the Monday and the Thursday. I think the chemistry in sessions has been fantastic.
Yeah,
I
completely agree.
I'll get FOMO if I don't go to a session.
Yeah, I wanted to be there every week. It wasn't and then it never felt like a chore. Working out, working hard, and going that extra distance, extra 10%, never felt.
I think is something going.
Never felt difficult.
No, nothing. Excuse me. Thought we were having some tech problems for a moment.
No tech problems, all smooth sailing. But yeah, we really created, I feel, a good environment. We created a good team, and that I feel is something again that we've improved on from last year, is having that team and having that sort of unity and that chemistry between all our fighters. That there was like 10, 15 of us that were there, and we were all supporting each other, and we'd all been there for each other the entire time. And yeah, that makes it easier to then, for me, going on my own personal journey, and just seeing that sort of differences. Yeah.
You know what's funny is you mentioned about the beer, and no one would know. See, and no one would judge you. I was out with some friends, and this was just a few days ago, and I wasn't drinking because in that point I thought we were still going to have another fight going ahead. Mm-hmm. Now I'm kind of in limbo at the moment, because I don't know if I'm going to have an extended. Of course, that's a whole different thing. Yeah. And they said, "Are you drinking?" And I said, "No," and they went, "Like, why?" And they did make a good point. They said, it's only a few weeks left of sort of mainstream uni before everyone locks in for exams.
Yeah,
they're like, "What are you doing? Like, come on, man!" And that really did have me like. That did have me really like thinking to myself as I was walking home, like, you got to have those words with yourself of what am I doing this for? But also it's funny that, you say people, there's no one there to judge you, whereas in fact in this environment, people judge you more for not drinking than for drinking.
And this is something, that I was having a conversation with one of the girls of boxing, Anna, and she was like, "Oh, you gonna stop drinking now full time?" And I was like, "Unfortunately not. It's not happening." But there are now situations where in previous times maybe like I would have drank.
Yeah.
I would have had 2 or 3 pints, where it's like, "Oh, I'm having a non-alcoholic version here. Oh, I'm having shout out to Kieran, the man's never had a drink in his life, and he's introduced me to the black currant soda, and it's like, well, I'm having one of them now." It sounds really dull, but but when you make those changes and then you realise it, you can just like, every time I go pub, I don't have to inherently drink. I can just go and enjoy the social aspect.
And this was another thing I thought about, was actually my social life, although it feels, and I had this last year, you haven't been drinking, and I don't know if it hits you, you get this kind of like prolonged build-up of FOMO, where one night it just hits you and you just think, everything I've missed, this is uni, I'll never get these years back, and that time's now been. And I'll be honest, I think over the last few days, whilst we've been back, I've been spinning on that a bit. And then I say to myself, well, actually, no. I have been to every sort of function. I've just been sober.
Yeah.
And the irony is, we say to ourselves, so to not have the FOMO would mean being absolutely blackout drunk, where you would actually remember less, feel worse for it.
But I think for me as well, I mean, as part of my degree, I do a study year abroad, and I'm going to go live in Mexico next year.
My uncle did that.
Yeah,
he absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things.
Oh, sorry, he was in New Mexico. He wasn't
New Mexico,
different country.
But I'm gonna be living abroad next year, and it's definitely been weighing on me. Like, I only have with certain people, like a lot of my friends are third years, or they're almost second
even if
year,
they're second years.
Like, when I come back, there's not that many people left in Cardiff. Like, you were saying how like you've only got so long left, and it's like, well, yeah, like I've got so long left, and then I'll be coming back to a Cardiff uni that maybe isn't the same as when I arrived, and it's like it's a really crazy thought, and it just makes you want to appreciate the moments of the people that you have. That's one of the things I'm trying to do more now, especially like, is kind of just like appreciate the people in the moments when we're all here and we're all able to just like I can text my mates and go, let's go to the pub, let's go play Flip 7, let's go do this, do that, let's go to Butte and just sit in Butte and chat. You know
I've gone a little bit, like I've realised the last few days, learn to switch off a little bit and actually be
present.
In the inverse, discipline the other way. Now I'm like, each day, okay, take like these hours of my day, they have to like stay empty.
Yeah,
so I can actually go out with my friends.
And it's acknowledging that you need to have that sort of that work-life sort of balance. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we're uni students, we've got assignments due. God knows I've got too many assignments due.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but you need to make time for the social aspect as much.
Because it is, again, you know, if we really just cared about work, we could go do a degree apprenticeship.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, and to link this back to inherently to the boxing, one of the things that helped when I was social, helped me with the social aspect, because I remember you saying when I was speaking to you, when you were doing your cut in first year, how there were times, obviously, because you were training so much. And I'd love to get into that, like your training schedule.
Go into that next.
You know, you were saying how it kind of felt like you were so locked in that you didn't have time for anything else. And I understand that, having made that, but what we've managed to do this year with boxing is because we made it social and, you know, it was intense, don't get me wrong, it was very intense, but because we kept that sort of social environment, going to a boxing session was socialising. It was saying, hi, catching up, how you doing? How's your degree? How's this, that? And it's just keeping up with people. And that was a way of, you know, maybe when I'm not going out and getting blackout drunk anymore, but it's another way of kind of just keeping your mental health as good as your physical health.
I completely agree. And I think having the sessions we did is that what I found especially, I mean, less so this year, but I mean, maybe a bit. I've fallen into the trap of it again. Is like every task I would do in a day while boxing had to be like a high leverage task. I had to be doing some kind of uni work, some kind of content work with this.
Yeah.
I mean, God knows how much time I've spent making videos this year. It's been insane.
You've been remarkably consistent. I see you on my For You page all the time.
But I mean, God, it's come with some sacrifices, and I'd say in the last few days, I've really felt the sort of the mental effects, like a kind of bit of a burnout, where I've had to really say to myself, look, I think it'd be better if I just took some time to just chill out.
Yeah,
I'm going as soon as this is done and uploaded, I'm going straight to the pub.
And that's good. I think I try and kind of, I like to think of it as like a bit of a triangle, right? You got your social life at one point, your work life, and then anything else, and your kind of physical health, mental health, and you know we kind of all want to maximize all three.
Yeah.
But there are points where you may need to prioritize one or two.
I think that
you always want to stay a balance in the middle of the triangle, but you know, there are times where I'm stuck in a library for 48 hours because I have an essay due and I'm not seeing anyone and I've not gone to the gym and I've not done any physical exercise.
But you can do that, I think, when you've got that light in the tunnel. When you know, like, you got 3 points, and actually the balance should be if you tallied up, let's say you got work, social, exercise, take 3. And I think the balance should be if you took them out across a long period of time, were they balanced? If that means you've gone through a week where it was just work, no friends, but then a week after that of just friends, then a week after that of exercise.
But I think for me, the perfect balance is doing one of each kind of every day. And it doesn't even have to be big things, you know. Sometimes my exercise can just be, so me and my housemates, there's this app where you can borrow people's dogs and you can take them for walks. It's a fan favorite in our house. We've got these 2 dogs that we take for walks every now. But like sometimes when I just want a bit of low effort, low stress sort of exercise, you know, we go on a walk, we talk, we walk the dogs, and it's a good way to just decompress. Yeah. Without it being necessarily being, but I'm still getting that sort of ticking that off. Oh, I've done a bit of work today, but it wasn't an essay. It was just going over my lecture notes. Tick. I understand your point of feeling at one point that every day needs to be, I need to work 100%.
I need to have one today, sort of.
Yeah, or like every day's got to be this full blast, but it doesn't inherently have to be. There are days where you do, certainly, but the more often you keep it, one day it's one thing's intense and the other 2 aren't. One day is, I think, for me, kind of how I like to balance my sort of life.
Yeah. I think I'm learning to be the same.
Yeah, it takes. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy because your situation, your goals, and my goals, we're in different places. You know what I mean?
I think when you're young as well, and when you're here, the mentality very much is the default is probably everyone's a bit lazy and alcoholic.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas it's quite easy to go swing hard the other way, and
because you're trying to overcorrect.
We'll probably learn this when we go into like professional work as well. Is you then have to start to be disciplined the other way.
Yeah.
Of actually, it's quite easy to do too much work as a bit of a coping method as well.
Yeah.
And I feel that is a possibility when actually, did you really need to like, did you need to like go for that extra bit of exercise, or did you need? I mean, maybe that doesn't sound right from a boxing point of view, but sometimes it's like, actually, that extra half an hour where you were going over like your lecture again, maybe you could have just gone and like met a mate for a bit.
Maybe you could have gone and met a mate. Maybe you could have sat there and brain rotted on YouTube or TikTok or
My best,
you know what I mean.
My most enjoyable relaxation time is just me and my mate have a phrase. It's called liming.
Oh yeah,
and it's an actual phrase.
Is this a Danfield concept?
No, it's a thing. Liming is a word.
I'm curious.
It is literally when you just chill with your mate and just when you're younger. You like your mate would be like, "Do you want to come round?" You just like sit and just.
You just sit. Yeah.
You just sit and just like talk shit and watch some stuff on YouTube, and
legit,
that is the best. That is the most fun thing to do.
Well, because it's decompressing you because everything's so gotta do this, especially with social media and stuff. It's like everyone's doing this, and it's like I gotta be on that. But at the same time, you're only seeing what people want to see. And that's not keeping a sort of healthy mentality. I don't feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, talk me through your actual training then.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's go with this camp. What was your weekly routine?
So, and this is something again related to the weight loss that you don't notice until you lose the 20 kilos. Is things like running, long distance running, like. Doing a 5K is really hard if you've got a 20 kilo backpack on you. You take the 20 kilo backpack off, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier on your joints. It's a lot easier on your recovery. For me, the boxing always came first. It was always whatever I was going to do that week. The non-negotiables I had to show up for any sort of boxing session because I'm okay. I'm a decent boxer, but I'm no way. I'm not Canelo. I'm not perfect. And for me, improving the actual boxing skill will improve everything else. It will improve my strength and conditioning. It will improve my cardio, all of muscular cardio. I would always try and do an upper body weight session and a lower body weight session. I kind of just split it into two because that's kind of, I thought, given my main priority was boxing, it was the split that, I went for a more... Some people might prefer to go for lower reps, but higher weight. And try and go more of a powerlifting route, obviously to create that sort of power. But I feel like that's something you do when you're in an off season. I think when you're within the depths of camp, and I think definitely again in the context of me also losing weight, so I'm in a calorie deficit consistently. I'm not putting really in the calories in as much to be able to replenish my body, kind of in the way a powerlifter kind of needs. You need 2 minutes per like in between each rest, and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So I decided that I was going to work more on muscle kind of endurance because I knew that if I'm boxing, the last thing I want is, my muscle gets tired. So I'd go for higher rep volume, kind of lighter weights but higher rep volume. I then also try and supplement that with a run.
What kind of rep range are we talking?
Anywhere from, so I do like pyramid sets, so it could be as high as 20, depending on the exercise. Like kind of for more compound movements, which were the priority of what I was trying to work on, I'd stick to no more than maybe 8 or 10 for a warm-up, 10 reps. But with accessory movements, it'll be 12 to 15.
Okay. So it's a little bit hypertrophy.
Yeah. I mean, I come from someone, like, I like watching YouTubers like Jeff Nippard, Will Tennyson. Like, that's the sort of background I come from. So that sort of hypertrophy focus is something that it's just natural kind of for me.
I would say as well, I mean, like you just said, we're not Canelo.
Yeah.
If you're doing 2 sessions in the gym, that's not the optimal weight training for boxing. But again, you're getting more training in some shape or form. Like, some training is better than no training, but also, like, you enjoy it again.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. My favourite training sessions were the strength and conditioning sessions,
and that's fair.
The boxing ones were second.
For me, I'm the complete opposite. I have fallen in love with the boxing side of it, and I'm very indifferent about strength and conditioning nowadays.
Really?
And if anything, as I've gotten lighter, I've fallen in love more with just running. You know,
fair.
Because I can do it more. Like, I did my first sub 30-minute 5K last Monday. And, like, but that's something I couldn't have done when I was 96 kilos. Yeah. And I think also for me, the main thing that, you know, weirdly, like, not weirdly, because it makes sense, but yoga. Like, I stretched after every session, and I'd spend a solid 10, 15 minutes just stretching. Like, it's such a not explored thing.
Meditative, very meditative.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know, I could go and do 4 boxing sessions and 2 weightlifting sessions a week because I was spending 3 or 4 hours cumulative over the week just getting my body ready, warming up correctly. Because Sam, social media manager, he kind of explained this to me because he had a shoulder injury like a year ago, and he saw a physio, and his physio kind of explained to him that, like, you know, your joints and everything, it's like blue tack. You need to mold it before you start. If you want to get the best use out of it, you need to mold it. And I felt, obviously, if I'm going to be boxing, which is a full body exercise 4 times a week, and then heavy weightlifting, you need to be properly stretching, properly warming up. And that
thought of to me now of walking into any gym and just not warming up seems so alien. I went to the gym with one of my mates the other day. Yeah. He just walked in and loaded 60 on the bar, and I was like,
"That's what I mean." So I remember.
What are you doing?
I remember 17-year-old me would, like, scoop half a like a, what's it called, a
little scoop of
pre-workout.
Well, like 7 at night, and wonder why we couldn't sleep.
Yeah, and I would be like, we're PR hunting tonight, and it'd be like, yeah, just
PR hunting. Yeah. No nutrition. The training was just not optimal.
I was just a big old boy that liked picking up big old weights.
God, I'll tell you that now. I miss those days of just such shit training.
Yeah, but you could get away with it because I was like 17, and it's like you wake up the next morning and you think, oh, I'm fine. Like, I'm not saying I'm old now, like, at all, but, you know, when you're doing something like boxing that's so intensive on, and this is something, again, like, you go from transitioning from something like weightlifting that I was doing where it's very static movements to boxing where it's all about movement. Yeah, it's a new level of, you know, my shoulders never been more tired doing boxing, and they've never looked more, like, defined than doing boxing because it's constantly throwing punches and stuff like that. But I kind of modeled a lot of my training after what kind of you did in first semester, because it was you and then Adam and Elliot released a guide halfway through about our camp, and I followed that pretty religiously. And I had a conversation with Adam because he's like, you do know you're not actually meant to follow that guide, you're meant to adapt it. And I was like, yeah, but I've been following the guide and it works. And he's like,
I mean, I followed the guide. It's a good blueprint.
It's a good blueprint, and I see what he means by you need to adapt it where it's possible. And there were times where, like, it'd be like, do a 5K run and do a training session.
So day. I never normally did the morning cardio in my first camp. Yeah. When I lost. So, I mean, I lost 6 kilos in 6 weeks. Damn, and that was morning cardio, training at night. But
I always did fasted cardio
Fasted cardio.
That's one thing I picked up from you, to be fair.
I always say it is you will just shred fat. But you got to be really careful, because after about a month of doing it, I was probably training an accumulative 10 times a week. Yeah. And I was so tired. I remember, and I woke up early. I'd always wake up at 6:30 for just no reason.
Never. I refuse to buy into this 5 a.m. wake up hype. Not happening. I can't do it. If I'm getting up, I have a 9 a.m. lecture. I'm waking up at 8:55. You'll know that I don't want to be there in the morning. I'm an evening guy. That's why I like the boxing sessions being in the evening, because, like, you know, I can kind of just have a coffee, go to the session, and I'm like, cool, we're chilling. No morning sessions.
For me, my wake up time's 8. And that is a perfect wake up time. Fair. Because, you know, you're in bed by just before midnight. Most people have gone to like, even at uni, most people are kind of winding down by
I feel like midnights are fair. I feel like midnight, that 8-hour period is pretty common.
Like, if you got something on and it eats until 1 a.m.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah. So that for me has been, like, the kind of optimal. And then if I don't sleep, then I'll, like, across the week, then I'll give myself, like, a lion on the weekend, and I'll just treat it like that. Yeah. But on your point of the training program, I think you've got to build the intensity up. So like amateur boxers that are seriously in camp, they will cardio in the morning and train at night. But I normally stacked up my cardio with training. So we do training, do extra cardio afterwards. To be honest, the coaches actually had us doing conditioning sessions within the sessions anyway.
And that's the thing as well. Like, we were doing conditioning sessions within the sessions. So, I said sessions every time. But yeah, like I remember, I think I maybe went on like actual out of my own time sort of runs. Like, I only did like 4 or 5, once a week.
Yeah, I always try to do like 2 additional sprints.
I remember at the start of my camp, and you know Kieran. Shout out to him. He's got the Manchester Marathon this Sunday. Yeah, good luck to him. But Kieran's
last guest on our show.
Yeah. Kieran's a little devil on my shoulder when it comes to running. I can tell you that now, because I don't run, and he's what I like to call a Strava warrior.
Oh, right? He is. Yeah,
he is a complete Strava warrior. And I remember one time I was just like, right, I've never run a 10K before. I'm gonna do it. And I bear in mind, at that point, I'd never run anything like longer than a 5K, and that took me like 40 minutes. So I just started running, kind of got lost around Cardiff, did the 10K, basically went all the way up to like the big Tesco's outside my front door, pretty much ran all the way down to the bay. And I remember getting back home and like blisters down my feet. And I got about halfway through Butte, and all that was in like the corner of my head was just Kieran just calling, like just saying, you're not built for this. Because he's a hater, and I know he's a hater. So I was like, if I run this 10K and I can put it on my Strava, I can tell him it's not that hard. So if I can do it out of what at that point was not in great shape, should be fine. But that sucked.
Wishing
that sucked
him
so much
blisters and pain this Sunday.
Absolutely.
Praying on his downfall.
I wouldn't go that far. No, I good luck to him. He'll be fine. He's done it before.
But
can't be worse than getting hit in the head by you. I know, because I've sparred Dan and I've been hit. The thing is you need to know about Dan, having sparred him a few times, is he doesn't actually care about your well-being at all. As a president of a boxing club, he's very much just pure violence.
Yeah.
We'll try and do light sparring, and I just can't. I know I can't do it with Dan. Like, the amount of times like leading up to camp, I would just do a few rounds with Dan. I remember one time me and you went to like absolute war outside of the ring. Mm-hmm. Like, that's meant to be light sparring. No head guards, kind of just having a bit of fun. And we've got like Luca and a few of the other guys start crowding around us like some sort of fight club.
Oh yeah,
type thing. Because I don't know if you remember that session.
I think I threw a chair over your head at one point.
Yeah. The steel chairs came out, tables, WWE style stuff.
I think I threw you on some thumbtacks at one point, like.
Yeah, but it was I know, but like, yeah, I can imagine. I hate sparring you. You and Dylan as well, because he's tall.
I've got to spar Dylan this Sunday.
Yeah, well, he's just. I hate sparring tall people, and I said to Aiden, can you not match me up against someone that's tall? And then he matched me up against Ben Waldy, which, great, someone who's tall.
I know out of everyone, he had the biggest difficulty matching you up.
I don't doubt that, because I'm short, but like, just dense. I'm a dense guy, and it's like, yeah, he's because I woke up the morning after the fight night, and I get a call from Aiden, because again, like during the fights, like Aiden said before the fight, said that I would have needed to box perfectly if I was going to win. But you get to the end of the first round, you're going, you're boxing perfectly. You get back to the end of the second round, you're going, you're 2 up. I'm like, wow, nice, sick one. And then obviously I go out, I drink an excessive amount. I drink like I'm still 96 kilos. So
you just put on the 96 kilos again.
I drank 96 litres of Jaeger and Red Bull.
Excellent.
But then I woke up the next morning, I was still drunk, and I get a call from Aiden, obviously doing like well-being checks the morning after. He's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm still drunk.
I was the same.
Yeah. And he's like, congratulations on your weight loss. And I'm like, I know, it's cool. And he goes, any chance you can make 69 kilos, because it'd be way easier, I think, to match you up at that, given your height. And I'm like, you can get absolute 69 kilos. I barely just made it under 80. Like, ain't no way.
I reckon you could do it, though.
Possibly, yeah. If I had more time, and had not the drive again, but like if I had a date again, like if I knew, like if I wasn't going on my year abroad, let's say, and I knew, right, November competing again, or October competing again, I could be like, yeah, we can lock in over summer. We can get that 8 kilos, 7 kilos off. It's definitely doable. And especially because I haven't actually put on much weight after the fight.
No.
I'm around 77 now.
I've lost more somehow.
Because again, we both kind of wanted to compete at varsity.
Yeah.
Fuck Swansea. So I don't know if this is a PG podcast, but fuck Swansea.
Swansea might be watching.
I hope they are.
We were
I want
ready.
you to know, I was here.
We were ready.
Everyone has their wristbands. Everyone wanted a show. We wanted to put on a show.
Absolutely. Well, I was gonna go on that and say that when I had the realization of, because when it's, you know, last year somebody else made the call. This year it was us. So it was me that had to decide it's not happening. And when I realised it's not happening, I had that same feeling that I had last year. If that kind of is all for nothing.
See, for me, it felt very bittersweet because I would have loved to have fought a varsity.
I was really, really excited for it.
You know, it would have been awesome because again, it's an event. People already have varsity tickets. Maybe even if they didn't come to fight night, they could have come to varsity because they could have seen how cool fight night was and gone, these guys know what they're doing. They can come to varsity. So on one hand, I was really annoyed, but at the same time, I was like, you know, don't get too ahead of yourself. Yeah. We still had a moment, you know, and that's the important thing to remember, especially compared to last year. We didn't have anything last year, so to go from having nothing to having something, shame about varsity, but.
And I think it's unfortunate for, I mean, because you are going away abroad. I mean, and then hopefully by next year with the next committee, they want to do November and March and hopefully varsity. I mean, next year could be a real.
But it's all on Swansea. It's all on Swansea. Swansea need to step up. This is an active call out, right? For when I come back, step like because varsity is the event of the year. I think it's voted the best student event in the country.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday
is going to be the best day of the year.
Oh, it typically is. It typically is, and we could have made it an even better day. We could have made the day before a better day.
Because that's the Monday.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about varsity. It's the day before, and people. It's a cool event. It's good.
Everyone there in their green and red.
Yeah.
Technical issues. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know, could have been a great event. Yeah. It's a shame that they're on their end that they didn't have anyone ready and willing to get in the ring with us. Yeah. You know.
Any last points that you want to get across to the audience?
I just kind of want to tell people that you know, you can do anything as long as you stay dedicated and you believe that you can do it. You know, there was a point in first year for me where I was going through some real bad mental health struggles, and I'm proud enough as a man to admit this. And you know, I was very self-conscious and I was in a very dark place, but I found boxing, and boxing was my way of getting out of that. You can find anything. There's things that you can do to get yourself in the right place mentally, and you know, your physical health will help contribute to better mental health. And you know, I'd like to think of myself as a leading example of someone that, you know, I had a problem. You know, for me it was my weight, and I've now managed to dedicate myself to something and had what I think is one of the, if not best moments of the year, best moments of my life is doing that fight night, having that moment under the lights and being able to perform. And this was the amazing thing about, shout out to Cardiff Uni TV for filming that, because it's not even just something now that, you know, I'll be able to show people when I tell them that I had a fight, but it's to show, you know, hopefully one day I have kids, that video will still be there. I can show them and I can tell them, oh, look what your dad did at uni, you know. 300 people, a ring, and he didn't win, but technically did win, so I'm having it.
And your friends at home watched it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, a few of them did. That's the thing. I wish I'd known about the stream because I would have put it on my story, but a few of them managed to find it, and there was a lot of support. It was great. It was great seeing the support behind me coming out of that.
It was a fantastic fight. Fantastic night.
Yeah, fantastic night.
Ollie Andrews, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We've been, I guess, through war together for the last...
Indeed.
For administrative training for the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been an absolute journey, Dan.
It's been a journey. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you a lot, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. And thank you, everyone, for watching. That is episode 4 of The Archives. Archive sealed. Thank you.